Hey, welcome back everybody. We are back outside for the first time this year. Hope to do more videos out here. It has been a beautiful spring day here in the Chicagoland area. It has been all week. Very summer-like if you like those temperatures. It's been in the 70s and 80s for the majority of the week, which just makes me think about the baseball season, obviously. So my poor Sox have not been off to the best of starts. Dylan Cease is throwing like a potential Cy Young winner this year, but other than that, we have Luis Robert Jr. off to a pretty good start, and then we have Eloy hurt again, possibly Johan Moncada hurt again. Tim Anderson's now hurt, so more of the same from last season, sadly. So I don't know, it's going to be kind of a long season, but I'm definitely looking forward to watching games, and I just have loved watching games so far because they're moving so quickly. I know some people don't like the pace of the game, but for me it just reminds me of watching games when I was younger, and the games were just moving really quickly. I guess I didn't really know it over time how the games got longer, but it definitely really felt the difference in the last like 5 years or so, where these games are just kind of getting dragged out. It was all the stuff in between the pitches, which oddly enough was the stuff I really loved during the postseason, was that tension building between the pitcher and the batter as you're waiting for that next pitch to come across the plate, and you're going to see what the outcome of it is. But I'll miss some of that stuff as we get into the postseason. But as the regular season goes, it's great. I got another game coming up in a month. I'm looking forward to going to see the White Sox. They're playing the Houston Astros, so we're going to be welcoming home Jose Abreu when I go see them, which should be a lot of fun. I think I'm getting another bobblehead at one of the games I'm going to, so I'm never going to turn that down. So hope you're all having a great week. I picked some new stuff in the mail. I'm going to be actually slowing down a little bit, so it's going to be, I have like maybe one more good mail day coming up. Slowing down with the intention of actually saving up money for the National, which is kind of what I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit as it kind of relates to building sets. So most of the stuff I have here is related to set building. Now some of it, although it may not directly be a set building thing, but it was kind of involved with a set build purchase. So it's very easy to kind of get caught up in wanting to try and complete your set as quickly as you can, and which is difficult when you're working on multiple projects for a variety of different reasons, but especially when you're working on vintage stuff. The first card I got actually had nothing to do with a set, but I do pick up these Topps Living cards, Champions League Topps Living cards. So this is for Chelsea players. So I got Enzo Fernandez. They've just had a terrible season in every way possible, but I think this guy is going to be part of the team kind of going forward, so I'm kind of excited to see how he might mature with the team as they start making some changes after this season to address a lot of their deficiencies. So again, not a direct set build thing, but I did get that in the mail recently, so I wanted to kind of get a chance to show that one off. So we got Enzo there. And the only other thing that was not related to a set build was the upcoming card here. Let me pull it, as I'm getting that set, let me kind of complete my thought. So again, it's very easy to just kind of get caught up and want to be able to complete it as soon as possible, and you're like always seeing things you need for your set, especially earlier on as you're building sets, because you have so much you need to complete. And as you know, I'm working on 4 things where I'm completing entire sets, and a 5th one if you're just talking about trying to get the stars and Hall of Famers for Topps Gold for 2001. It's just very easy to get kind of caught up with just trying to buy things here, buy things there, and want to kind of rush things to kind of get it done. Set building is not a sprint by any stretch of the imagination, especially not vintage set building. It's really a marathon, and that's part of the journey that comes with it, and part of the enjoyment as you slowly build these sets over time. So if you're one that kind of struggles just really appreciating picking up every single card you get along the way when you're building a set and appreciating for what it is, especially for a vintage set, you know, maybe you want to stick to getting individual cards. If that's what you really like, is getting those individual cards of players that really excite you, Hall of Famers or your favorite players or your favorite team, do that. You don't have to be able to build vintage sets. Vintage sets, you're getting cards for players or teams that you don't necessarily like, or players that you know nothing about, and you may never know anything about them after you pick up that card for that set. And I would say a lot of the vintage collectors that I know like to learn about those players, whereas other people are like, you know, it's a common, I don't really want it, I want to get the star players for this set. Well, do that, enjoy it. But with that said, if you are kind of building those sets, it's really a marathon, man. And as with marathon training, yeah, the start line is what you're trying to work towards, and getting to that finish line and having a great day on race day. So that would be the equivalent of that in set building would be completing the set. but you're enjoying the journey along the way. If you don't enjoy the journey of doing the difficult workouts, building the speed work, picking up the common cards, paying a lot for a high number card of a common player, you're just, set building just isn't for you. And the same thing, like marathon running wouldn't necessarily be for you either. All right, so here's the other thing that's not set related. I think I'm gonna get a little bit of glare because it's pretty sunny out here this afternoon. So let me adjust this a little bit. So I do try and get the Topps Gold cards of Derek Jeter, and I've actually moved and trying to get a lot of them graded. Trying to get like 9s and above for most of the cards. So this one is really excited. I finally picked this one up. This is an older PSA label, but it's a 2003 Topps Gold card. I just love the Jeter cards in general, and I like Jeter a lot as a player because he always have really cool images on his cards of him doing something pretty cool in the field predominantly, but sometimes there's a few that are of him hitting. But a lot of them are like leaping and jumping over players, diving for balls, making throws while he's leaping in the air. They're kind of really kind of capture like the essence of what he was when you had a chance and opportunity to watch him play. And as with all the gold cards, these are going to be numbered out of this, and this one's going to be numbered out of 2003 because it's from the 2003 set. This was actually the first year where they introduced black parallels, so gold parallels weren't the only parallels by the time we reached 2003. So gold parallels are going to be exclusive parallels for the sets, outside of like some ones that are like I forgot what they call them, like home team advantage sets and things like that. But the numbered parallels are going to be in 2001 and 2002, and then from 2003 onward, we start seeing the run-up of cards for different parallels, from blacks to whatever they might be today. We have red, we have blues, we have all kinds of different colors and different types of backgrounds that kind of go with the cards, which is pretty exciting stuff these days. But back then you had this, or you had like the black card for that year, I think was numbered out of just 50, so it was really hard to pull. So very excited to have the Jeter there. All right, so now on to the set building stuff that I have. Now, as I mentioned, it's a marathon, so I'm going to start with 2001 cards. I got 2001 Topps Gold. Got a few more of those. Picked those up recently. And again, trying to get all the stars and Hall of Famers. I have a few more on the way soon, so I'm happy to be able to kind of put those in the collection soon. But here's the ones that kind of came in recently. Got Jason Giambi. I was debating whether to get this card or not because I really didn't like him as a player, and a lot of that is just because of his 2000 season when I thought that Frank Thomas was the MVP, and later found out that he actually was using steroids during that season. It kind of really just soured me already on Jason Giambi. But definitely thereafter, I'm like, I don't know if I even want to get this card for my set. But I started getting some of the steroid players. I'm like, okay, the story of 2001 can't be told without Jason Giambi in the set. So I picked him up. I was at the 2003 All-Star Game win on Home Run Derby. He was just hitting bombs during that. He didn't win it, but man, he was just hitting the ball all over the place. Also got Mike Scioscia, just because I think he may get into the Hall of Fame as a manager at some point. I think 19 seasons managing, I think, is what he eventually did in all. He has a lot of victories and a World Series championship to his name as well. So I just thought it's possible he might be able to get in. But definitely he was one of the long stay managers of his era, so I thought that was one that probably kind of fits into that set. And then I got Luis Gonzalez, who was the hero of Game 7 in the World Series in 2001. He hit that cutter. He blooped it in just between the second baseman and the shortstop with a man on third, and with the game tied, I believe in the bottom of the ninth. It might have been even the 10th inning. I can't remember. But it was in Game 7, and the Diamondbacks took the championship that night. Really unexpectedly from the Yankees. You know, they played not a great series. I think people still thought the Yankees would pull it off, and the Yankees had just some miracle moments as a team at Yankee Stadium where you thought the spirit of the Diamondbacks were broken, and there was no way they'd be able to win this series, and they just went ahead and did it. So a lot of kudos to that team. The Hall of Famer on that team right now is Randy Johnson. At some point, probably Curt Schilling will get in. I don't know if any other players will be able to make it on that team, but those are the ones that really stand out. And finally got one of these golden moment cards that's in the set, which are near the ends of both series 1 and 2. And this one's Roberto Clemente. This one they talk a little bit about him getting his 3,000th hit in 1972, which was the last game he played in that season, and his last at bat, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And then obviously he died later that December 31st in that terrible plane wreck, and just was voted into the Hall of Fame the very next year. He got an exemption because of that. But what a legend in the game, but obviously a legend in Puerto Rico for sure, and just in baseball history for sure. One of my all-time favorite players. Here, we'll put Puerto Rican legend next to manager of the Puerto Rican World Baseball Classic team this year, Yadi Molina. All right, and the other ones here. So, got some more 53 Bowmans in here. Saw this lot for sale. I'm actually missing one in here. Let me grab it out. Saw this lot for sale of 3 cards, and the seller sent me an offer. And I thought, you know, it's a good price. I think when I kind of looked at how the cards were in condition, they were very good condition. There's no major creasing here. There's no writing on there. They're actually mostly centered for the most part. Yeah, the corners aren't perfect for sure. And certainly the surface is so a little bit of wear. There's a little bit of snowing on the surface, but thought they were good prices for what I paid for. It was in a lot altogether that a seller had and offered me a discount. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pick that one up. And I needed 2 of the 3 cards in the set. And I think the third one that I already had is actually, it's a really good suitable replacement for the one I have. So we have Jim Busby from the Washington Senators. We have Mickey Grasso, also from the Washington Senators. And that's just an awesome picture in catching position, those old Washington uniforms. And this is the one I already had, which was the Steve Southchuk, who was with the Detroit Tigers at that time. That's just a beautiful image right there, where you can see the grandstand behind you of Yankee Stadium. Wow, these are just such cool cards. So I'll probably do a recap at some point where I'm at with this set, because I am moving pretty far along in its development after just about 7 months of working on it so far. So I'll give you an update. And then finally, I was actually trying to buy a bunch of 1948 Bowman. So this guy who had 2 lots of 1948 Bowmans for sale. And I thought I put in what would be competitive offers. And I also looked to see what else he had for sale. And he also had a small lot of 1952 Topps cards. So I'm like, well, if I win some 48 Bowmans, I'll just kind of put the bid on this. And if I pick up these lot of 52 Topps cards, that would be just a little bonus. But wouldn't you know, the only thing I won was the 52 Topps cards. But these are pretty cool. Not a set I'm working on, but if I can find a good price on some 52 Topps cards when I'm at shows, or if I'm like doing something like that where I'm bidding on something I need, but the seller has a couple 52 Topps cards for sale, I'm going to pick them up. It's not a set I think I'll ever be able to kind of aggressively go after, just because of the price of the Hall of Famers, and obviously the high series is ridiculous. But I like to be able to pick up these cards. I just think they might be my favorite looking Topps cards. I thought for a while it was 1953, then I went to 56, but I might be back to 1952. For a while I wasn't too thrilled with these, but the more I get these cards, I'm just like, these are just amazing looking cards. Just look at this beautiful image of Don Mueller here. There's a black back. And the resolution is really good on both sides of this card. So we have him, and Don Mueller. Check this one out. This Leo Keeley for the Boston Red Sox. He was a pitcher. Look at that awesome background. The image just really kind of stands out from the image in the background there. Yeah, the image was kind of miscut, so the image isn't centered on the card, so it looks a little funky that way. But look at the resolution otherwise. It's just beautiful. The logo really pops out of there. It's another black back card. Just really beautiful. At some point I'll show you all the 52s I picked up to date, because I've been doing them just since the beginning of the year, but I've got a little good number right now, so it's kind of fun to look at them all together. They're going to be mostly commons, but still cool to look at. Tom Upton was the final one I got. from the Washington Senators. And this one's a little bit different because it's a redback. So that is what I got during the course of the next few months as I kind of start saving for the National. I plan to just do updates on some of my set builds, kind of continue to do some of the videos I normally do about diamond stars, players, and also looking at some complete sets. But I might go down kind of like a little bit of memory lane, telling some stories, and then potentially even like showing my little collection of 52 Topps cards and some other things that I really enjoy and I kind of find interesting. I hope you guys enjoy it. Feel free to leave a comment in here in the chat, and also, you know, feel free to just send me an email. Email's in the description. Feel free to just kind of connect with me there, and I will see you all soon.